Right, good morning. This is Mike Tabor, and today we're going to do Keystroke Live. We're going to be going over the Keystroke Express POS installation. During the presentation, I'm going to go ahead and mute the crowd, and if you have any questions, please use the chat box, and we'll go from there. And if you do see any problems with the display or the screen or my microphone, just, again, send me a chat, and I'll try to get it fixed right away. We're going to be talking about Keystroke Express POS installation. Last week and next week we've been talking about the Keystroke Express program, and we'll move on. As you know, this is our Wednesday Keystroke Live. It's every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Same place, same time. A couple things about Express POS. This is a scaled down version of Keystroke POS. Express POS doesn't have all the features of Keystroke POS, and it does not help anybody to try to make Express POS turn into the real Keystroke POS or Advanced POS. Usually if there's one add-on you want to try to add, that's doable. But if you need more than one different deliverable enhancement, you probably want to be looking at the Keystroke POS version. If you don't know, it's $495 is the list price for a one workstation license. That's the affordable part. Also, it's very easy to install. I've already downloaded this, but here's the link here. It's got Keystroke POS, downloads, Express POS, and the file name is called expresssetup.exe, and it is case sensitive. I've already downloaded this into my downloads folder, so we'll be starting it shortly. A couple of things: when you do install it, it does also create a shortcut in your start menu called the Express POS Update Installer. This allows people that are on a current maintenance plan to get the most current version. The setup for Express is much smaller than Keystroke POS. It's about 50 megabytes in size, so it's just as easy to download the full install than to try to download a couple 10 megabyte files to patch up. So we'll be looking at that shortly. And what I do want to show you is that this Express setup will check for the existence of a Keystroke POS installation, meaning if the Keystroke EXE is there, it will tell you should install Keystroke instead of the Express POS, and that's so that you, as, let's say, dealers, can use the deliverable enhancements or the dealer deliverable enhancements. We want to also make sure people don't install, let's say, a copy of Keystroke Express POS on top of an older copy of Keystroke to see what it looks like. It may make their installation unusable. So I'm going to jump over here into my downloads folder, and I'm going to show you I do have a copy of Keystroke running, actually installed, and we're going to be installing to a KS7 folder instead of a C Keystroke folder. But let's go ahead and here's the file I just recently downloaded before we called from that link shown before. I'm going to go ahead and just double click it and start it up, and you're going to notice here, I'll make sure I get focus on this screen. This is the screen that will come up if it knows that the Keystroke program, and not Express, if it knows that the Keystroke program has been installed, and it tells us it's recommended to install the full Keystroke program. You can always do this even with an Express license. They can have the full program there, and they can just run express.exe, and their license files will work just fine with the keystroke.exe program. And this is kind of warning us that, are you sure you want to do this? If you want to, you should really be downloading the full version. If I were to click on yes down here, this would actually go to our regular site and download the full installation. There's really never a problem except for the size on the hard drive. It's about a 90 megabyte file, and it installs more files than needed for Express. That's the only downfall, is that it uses up hard disk space, which is usually not a problem. I'm going to cancel this installation by answering no here because I don't want to download that. And it says right here after I hit no on that, it says the Express POS installation was canceled due to the EXE being found. Now I'll tell you, as dealers, you could delete that one file or rename that file to continue, but there'll be a time that you might want to add a feature or turn something on for your customer, and you're going to need the full Keystroke program with your dealer license key to turn on some features. So you might want to not delete the keystroke.exe. And I'm going to do it just for the sake of this discussion. So give me a moment here and I'll take care of that. Okay, so right now I'm going to go ahead and rerun the Express setup program. I actually renamed the EXE, and I'll just show you the screens that you would be seeing. This here is just the welcome screen for Express POS. And next, of course, this is very similar to our standard. The only difference you might see is the logo, a little different color there. Here it shows that we've installed this in C Keystroke before. On this machine we have different versions. We actually have C Keystroke for Express, we have KS7 for version 7, and we actually have a version 8 we're testing now and using live in-house. But I'm going to go ahead and change this. It recommends I put it there, but I'm going to show you why I'm going to change this. And for the sake of this example, I am putting this in the KS7 folder. And I am going to leave my shortcut folder name as Keystroke Express POS. And we're going to go ahead and add a shortcut to the desktop. And I'll go ahead and do the install. This install is rather quicker than the full install because, again, it's half of the size in the setup, so it's about half the files. Not all the supporting files are there. But let me go back to my slideshow here while this is installing and show you the next slide. Make sure I can read it. By default, the Express program is installed in C Keystroke, and the data files are in C Keystroke data. This is important to know. The reason why we do this is to make it very easy for Keystroke to migrate up to Keystroke POS or Advanced POS. We want to make sure that they can have data where it's normally found, and the Keystroke program is the same, so they can just install right over the top and have the full program. Okay, and so this is the finished screen. It just is showing that we had finished the installation. I'm going to bounce back to the slideshow, and we're going to just finish up here. There are some differences here. The forms, the reports, the help screens, and the tutor sample data, those folders are actually stored underneath a subfolder called Express. And we do this to segregate those different files. For instance, let's talk about reports. There's a lot of reports that are not in Express POS, like accounts receivable and aging type of stuff. A lot of purchase order reports are not in there and so forth, or payables. So we actually don't have all the form options available in Express POS. If you find a report is missing that you think they would want to use, or you want to make a custom report for them, make sure you put it in the Keystroke Express reports folder in this case. Help files are also different between the two. The help files actually have limited information. We don't want to tell them about features that are not in Express. And again, I mentioned the above different folder structure allows you to install right over the top, and then they can use Keystroke Advanced POS immediately with their current data. No shortcuts would need to be changed. No setup WS would need to be changed, and things like that. So I'm going to show you a few more things here. And let's go ahead and first of all, I'm going to open up the program. If you haven't seen it, I'm starting it up now. Let me change focus. This here is the Express.exe. This is what is running right now. This is using our dealer copy. They would have one active logon. Normally that's $495. If they have two active logons, that's 2 times $495. By the time you get to a third active logon, or a third machine that needs to run Express, you're pretty much paying for the price of Keystroke POS one user license. And in Keystroke POS and Advanced POS, you do get that back office functionality, so you might consider that if they're going to be wanting to open Express POS in the back office just to run reports and so forth. A couple of things you might notice, and I think we talked about this before, is like the toolbars are slightly different. I'm going to go and clerk in. This is our sample data. We have different toolbars here that have been created kind of with a more metro look, and they're a little less colors and flashy. We have added, I'm going to go to a different module like in Report Manager. We have added some toolbars for reports, and we've left some blank ones here so that you can just add your own buttons here just by right-clicking on it. I just right-clicked on that and that brought up my toolbar editor. I could create a command and so forth. I could change colors and so forth. They're still allowed to do that. They don't get the full toolbar editor. They have a button editor. That's what we were just looking at. For instance, I can go to Label Manager. You can set up your different labels, for instance, and the same kind of thing applies. And I'm going to go ahead and just go back to Sales Manager and show you this is kind of our default here. And even on the logo screen, if I go ahead to exit program, we have the by default the number pad turned on in case we're using a touch screen. They can just touch in their clerk number and our password. There's a keyboard that's able to be turned on if needed. That allows you to put in your password in upper and lowercase letters if needed. Let me go ahead and show you a couple other things. I have a shortcut over here. I'm going to open this up. First of all, I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to go back and, well, I don't know if it's going to show me this, but let me do a few things here. Here's a shortcut that I've created, and it actually is running the Keystroke EXE program. I hope you can all see my full entire screen here. This should show everything. If not, maybe chat me. But this shows the KS7 folder and running the Keystroke EXE. I'm using the /tutor switch, and notice I'm not using /d tutor. Because if I use the D tutor, it would force it to a tutor subfolder. If I use /tutor, it actually, for Express, it's going to run it in a different folder. It's going to be Express Tutor. This is how you can run the Express interface with a full version of Keystroke. A lot of people think that they have to buy a separate license for Express POS, but if your customer has a Keystroke POS license or an Advanced POS license, they can still run the Express and get the Express look by just adding this startup switch called Run as Express. And this allows you to go back and forth when you're testing as dealers to use your dealer copy, set something up in keystroke.exe, then add the parameter Run as Express, or excuse me, Run as equals Express, and then actually see how it looks in the Express program. So I'm going to start up this shortcut here, and this is regular Keystroke EXE running. This is the Keystroke EXE running as Express, and I'm going to try to use the Shift F12 screen here, and hopefully you can see this. It actually shows here the switches /tutor. It shows Run as Express. And notice that the data directory is actually, in my case, KS7 Express Tutor. We have limited tutor data to kind of keep you in sync with the limited program. So you could go in and create different things, or let's say set up a scale or something of that nature in Keystroke, and then just by changing your shortcut to Run as Express, you can go ahead and open it up and see how it looks. I'm going to go and close Keystroke there. Let's talk about, I'm going to share my full screen here again. And in the Start menu under Programs, sorry, there we go. I have a Keystroke Express POS subfolder. And under here you'll see the normal Keystroke Express POS shortcut. You'll see Express POS with sample data. And you'll also see that we have the Express POS Update Installer. Again, just like Keystroke, this is how you get updates. As long as you're current on a software maintenance plan, you will be able to just have yourself or your end user just click on this and get the latest version. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and bring focus to it when it comes up here. This is very similar to the Keystroke Update Installer. Here we don't have the option to do patches. We just do the full install. And that's pretty loud. We're about 50-something megabytes, 55, less than 60 megabytes in size. This will tell you if it's up to date or if there's an available update. I did update today, so I want to make sure it's on the right version. You can always re-download the program by just clicking on the Express POS option. The extensions, if you're not familiar, it just allows you to install KeyPay, KeyMail, or the digital sign controller. And again, if you download the Express setup and you already have this full copy of Keystroke installed at your customer site, keep in mind that it's not going to want to do the installation. It's going to tell you to update the full version. And that's so you don't get, let's say, a build 71 of Keystroke and then overlay a build 72 of Express on top of it. You would probably have some incompatibilities, and that would not be a good thing. So in a nutshell, we kind of went through the different functions here. Again, I mentioned the Keystroke Express folder, subfolders for reports and forms. You as resellers will use it to copy some custom forms into your forms folder. Maybe I can show you quickly here just the data structure I'm speaking about. Let's go ahead and bring focus to this. This is our Keystroke folder, and in this case it's CKS7. Notice that this is our regular folder here. It's got all of our EXEs. You might be familiar with this. We've got a couple live folders in there for our Keystroke Live. In the installer folder, if you're not familiar, this is where the Keystroke Update Installer and the Express Update Installer are located. Downloads is where we would have downloaded if we use the Keystroke Update Installer. I cleaned that folder out, but you might, it's kind of an archive of the last setup you've ever downloaded. But notice here there's an Express folder. You're going to see in this folder that it's very vanilla, very blank. All it holds is these other folders: Forms, Help, Reports, and Tutor. So here are the list of forms. If you notice, there's only 38 forms in Express. There's a couple invoices, some purchasing, some looks like paid out forms, and so forth. If we go look under reports, there's 75 different report files in here, and that includes price tags. So there's the KSR forms and some tags. It looks like there's only 5, price tags. So these are the kind of things, if you start making custom forms, keep in mind they're going to go up here into your Express Reports folder for report forms. And again, the help files for just the modules that are available in help. For instance, you don't have the general ledger link help file in Express, but if you do purchase it, it gets added into the program. So that right there is kind of the overview of Express POS and the installation. And I guess I'll open up now and see if I have any questions. I do see a comment that Scott could not see my computer.
When you were talking, I could see you talking. I couldn't see you. You were referring to the files that you're looking at, but they weren't visible on the screen. I don't know if you were trying to make them visible or not.
I was. Was anybody else able to see the files? Let me try that again. That's good to know. All right, here should show you Explorer.
All I see is you. All I see is you.
All you see is me. Does anyone else just see it?
There's usually a small delay between the time you see it and the time the viewers attending the meeting see it, Mike.
How about now?
I'm not seeing Windows Explorer at all. There it is.
Now it is. There it is.
Came up just now.
I see. I think I see
So
what
there's
happened.
normally a delay when you switch focus.
Okay. Yeah, that seemed to be quite a long delay. Sorry about that. Anyhow, this is what I was trying to explain. That this is the keystroke folder. Thanks for bringing that up, Scott. I want to make sure I get it on video this time. This here is the regular keystroke folder. This has the keystroke exe. It also has the express exe in it. I was trying to make a point that there's an express folder in here, and in this folder is a very limited number of files that are supported by express. For instance, I was going to show you that the forms has about 38 forms in it. The reports form here has only 5 there's a couple price tags and there's a couple mailing labels. And then there's some different reports in here, and it's a subset. Think of that Express as a subset of the full Keystroke program. So if you as a dealer want to do some work either at your office, or if you want to do some work at your customer site and you need some of your dealer-only tools, you would probably want to install the full Keystroke version, and their shortcut is just going to run Express anyhow. So thank you, Scott, for bringing that up. I hope that clarified that a little bit.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions about the Express POS?
I have another question.
Sure.
Did I understand you that you can use a backroom version of the program with the front room like you can with the regular keystroke, or is that a separate license, additional license to do backroom functions?
No, but it's a good question. Keystroke POS and Advanced POS give you backroom functionality, meaning if you have a one workstation license in Keystroke POS or Advanced, that allows one workstation to be in Sales Manager. But you can have a number of computers doing things like reports or purchasing. Keystroke Express POS has a different licensing structure. What it is what we call active logons, and you'll actually see the words active logon. So let me open up Express.
Yeah, I noticed that on your license.
And this is 10 active logons. And so what would happen here is that only one person could be in Express at one time. And you could not have anybody in, let's say, Purchase Manager at the same time if my active logon said 1, for example. But let's say you have a 3 workstation license of Keystroke POS. You could have them run Keystroke POS, Keystroke.exe, and you can actually just go in and change the toolbars and give them the Express look. Let me show you something. That brings up a good question. I'm going to close this and open something else up, and just let's take out this. So getting back to that, if you had regular keystroke and you just wanted to give them the look and feel of the Express, then there's ways to do that. Because some people like to kind of limit the functionality of keystroke. They don't want people to be getting into things they shouldn't be getting into. So here's a Keystroke Advanced POS. Okay, now this should be showing now. And so maybe you don't want people to be getting into all of this stuff, and maybe they shouldn't be doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So what you can do is you can add the run as express, run as equals express, to your shortcut, and then they would get a different look. They would come in, but they would still have their 3, if they had Keystroke POS, they'd still have their 3 active users, which means they can have 3 people in Sales Manager and people that can be in the back office doing other stuff. So it starts counting the licenses differently. So once you're up to like 1 or 2 workstations with Express, you really should buy Keystroke POS and buy a 1 or 2 workstation license, and then you can have more functionality. I did want to show you, this is going to kind of come up later, but in Configuration Manager, we can go under Appearance here, and we can change some themes and some toolbars. And this is just regular Advanced. So I can go down and select the Default Express option. That turns on that functionality. I can change, I think it's, I'm already at the flat look. I can go in here and change my toolbar to the Express toolbar. I'm going to hit enter on this. I'm going to hit F10. And now if I go back to like Sales Manager, I pretty much look like Express here, even though I'm really running Keystroke. So I can keep them out, even though they have the navigation menu here. They probably won't see it because when they start opening the program, they're going to get our regular stuff and so forth. Or you can go right to Sales Manager on those workstations, and they wouldn't see that. So this is kind of a way to change your regular Keystroke POS to give the toolbars of Express, the look of Express. I can change the background color and so forth. And then, of course, with security levels, you can limit them to other things. But here would be a case where you could buy, let's say, a one workstation POS and for $12.95 and allow two people to be in purchasing, one to run reports in the office, and one person to work at the one register, and you don't have to buy additional licenses for Express. Pretty soon after the second license of Express, you're going to be pretty much closing in on the price for Keystroke POS. I hope that made sense. I think I got a little long-winded on all that.
No, that did.
Okay.
I have one other question.
Sure.
If they have an Express license and they try to open the regular version of Keystroke, is it just going to give an error message, or is it just going to open them in Express and pretend like they didn't try opening the regular version?
It would work. It would open them as if you ran the Run as Express command line. So it would just open up as express.exe would. So those shortcuts would be, if you had a keystroke.exe shortcut, it would work just fine.
Okay.
And the real goal here, and as you kind of get the feel for this, is that we want entry-level people to get into Express at $4.95 for one workstation, say that they love it. Now they want to start asking you to do things for them and bigger and better. And instead of spending your time, I think it's best to say, why don't we just update to Advanced? You get 100% of the $4.95 back against Advanced, or you get half of it at somewhere around $250 off of a Keystroke POS if you want to upgrade from one to the other. So they may look at that in 6 months and go, hey, why didn't I buy POS or Advanced POS? Let me get that. I like Keystroke. Let's do that. Okay?
And Mercury Pay works with it?
Yes, absolutely. This Mercury Pay and Cayenne both work with it. This is as we're working towards PCI and PADSS version 3 compatibility with KeyPay, this will only support the end-to-end encrypted devices and some of the other devices. So we don't support some of the old legacy devices like the Ingenico 6550 that's not PCI. You cannot set that up and use it in Express. So keep that in mind. You want to be kind of keeping up to date and keeping them current. And with Express POS, they do get 1 month of free updates. Then they need to purchase a updates or software maintenance plan to get updates. Good question. Any other questions? Well, great. Well, I want to remind you that next week, David Hunsinger is going to be going over the dealer deliverable enhancements. This is how you add a little bit of value to the Express program. It's not so you can spend all your days trying to make it turn into Advanced POS. Well, thank you for your time, and we'll see you next week.